What is happening, guys? Cowboy here, and we are back with part 3 of the walkthrough. So just for a character update, so far spending our souls, we've been putting everything into strength. I'm actually trying to hit 24 strength for the requirement on the Butcher's Knife, which is a weapon we'll be getting a few parts from now. A very good A-scaling strength weapon. So from here, we are going to travel back to the high wall of Lothric Bonfire. We're going to take that shortcut that we ran to at the end of the last episode, clear out some enemies in addition to taking down Big Blue. We'll take out some of the Lothric Knights, go to speak with an NPC, and then take down a boss. So I think this episode will be a little bit shorter just because I would like to save the Undead Settlement for the next episode, but more than likely we'll do the very start of the Undead Settlement and at least get to the second bonfire into it, which is kind of the real start of the settlement, if you kind of understand what I'm saying. Like the first bonfire we reached was a couple kind of open areas, and then the second bonfire is where you really start getting into the thick of the settlement. So from this bonfire, we're just going to go down, and we can basically ignore these enemies if we're quick enough. Just going to roll on through. Our elevator is still waiting for us, of course. Now, I did forget to use my my Estus shard. You could go give that to Andre and get one more Estus. I don't think I'll need it, so I'll use it before the next part. Quite a few enemies here, though. Very easy to get overwhelmed if you're not careful, so do keep that in mind. I'm gonna grab the green blossoms from here. We're gonna go down. There's gonna be an enemy right here. Take him out. We're going to go up this way. Grab the large soul. I was curious if this guy would have actually followed me or not. Looks like he did. And we're going to make a jump to reach this. So get yourself a little bit of running distance. There we go. Bring a sacrifice. Kind of lucked out there having the free plunging attack on that guy. He can actually drop that halberd, so keep that in mind if you want to use some rusted coins. Bump up your luck a little bit with those rusted coins, get a better chance of getting that to drop. That being said, I'm still fine with just using the axe that we have. So if we go back here, we will get our rapier. So if you're playing a dex build, good old thrusting weapon that you can now have at your disposal. Get another ember. Now if we run right here, just because up until now, you know, we've been tying everything together, and I want to keep you guys aware of the kind of state of the world, if you will. If we climb up this ladder, now I'm not going to go all the way up, but I'm going to go up and kind of show you guys where we are at. You can see I have an enemy chasing me, and this is the area right here with the archers. If you remember, we were kind of at this area before. Okay. Fine. This guy's going to be a dick, so it looks like I am going to go up. Thankfully, that guy dropped out of the way. No! And off we go. So that particular area with the ladder there, before we went with the knight and got the key, that's actually where we would go to continue on, as I said. We're going to actually, since we do have the key, we're going to go get the NPC first, because I did not do that in the last episode. So we'll go to the tower on the wall bonfire first. We'll grab the NPC, and then we'll just take that path naturally towards Big Blue, possibly get the halberd off of him. I don't actually know the names of those enemies. I think Big Blue is quite fitting, because they're rather large, and they are blue. I mean, the load times aren't that bad on console. They're not like pre-patch Bloodborne bad, but they definitely could be improved. Either way, so from the Tower Apart bonfire, we're going to go. We're going to actually skip a couple enemies here, which is kind of risky considering our souls are just waiting to be picked back up. And we're going to drop on down. very easy to slaughter enemies when they're grouped up. And you can really see that benefit of the shield right there. Managed to just completely shut down that attack and circle around for an easy backstab on that enemy. So, run through this area very fast. This guy's going to try and throw fire bombs. Now, if they hit you, it's not that bad, but as you can see with all these barrels, exploding barrels are not fun to deal with, especially when you get hit. It is very easy to end up getting just outright killed by exploding barrels. Kill him. Get the mail breaker. And run on down here. Remember, there should be one more enemy kind of hiding about. No, might be mixing up my areas. Anyway, so we'll run in here. Is that where he's at? No. Alright. Use the cell key. Talk to this good guy. I'm going to grant his request. We got the blue tear stone ring. He is now going to go back to the area. Another ring we picked up, just to talk what it about, is the Ring of Sacrifice. Now, Rings of Sacrifice, basically when you have that on and you die, you keep your souls, but the ring breaks. Now, if you're going into an area and you're really worried about losing your souls, it's not a bad option. Since my souls are kind of on the line right now, interestingly enough, I can use that ring, and then if I die, instead of the souls that I dropped disappearing, they won't. They'll still persist, because it's the equivalent of me, instead of dying and dropping a new soul pile with 230, I'll lose nothing. So the original pile of souls that we're navigating to now will still be available. So we're just going to run past some of these enemies. The Abyss Beast right here will respawn, so keep that in mind. There's Big Blue. Top ourselves off. And there's our souls, right about where we died. Alright, now before we duke it out with Big Blue, we are going to buff up here. Where's he at? Where are you? How am I not seeing this guy? He's huge. There he is. Big Blue is down. Still no halberd off of him. That's okay, though. Now, just to make your life easier, circle back around and hit this guy. Last thing you want is him sitting here and throwing, shooting fiery bolts at you. Deserter trousers. Thank you for that. Now, we're going to actually keep our shield up for this next part. These knights can hit quite hard. If you're able to parry them, that is easily the ideal option. We're also going to put on some throwing knives just to pull them apart and fight one knight at a time. So, one throwing knife. Come on. There we go. You have his attention. This one seems to be slightly derpy. There we go. Now he understands where we're at. He should come over to us, and we're going to pull him up here just so that way the other knights don't get involved. Come on. Keep coming. Get over here. I'm calling you. As you can see, the good old block and backstab tactic working very, very well, allowing us to clear out these knights. You can actually get a fairly nice shield off of them. One of the better shields in the game, in my opinion, was actually the shield I used to beat one of the late bosses in the game. What I would consider actually be the hardest boss in the game. It's 100% physical and then very good lightning resist as well. So something to keep in mind if you can get them to drop. Not a bad idea to actually farm them and just keep farming them until you get that drop. And of course, to farm enemies, all you have to do is go rest at the bonfire. That will cause all the enemies to respawn, and then from there you can just come back down and fight him again. The Knight's Crossbow, which is actually pretty good to snatch up now. Being a strength build, I don't have the requirements to use bows. I do have the requirements to use crossbows, but you'll notice up in the corner my weight ratio with that will be 72.7. Now you always want your weight to be below 70%. That's very, very important. As you can see right now, I have a fairly fluid roll. Now, just for demonstrative purposes, if I was to put on something that puts me over that threshold, you can see I have a much clunkier roll. And this is what we call fat rolling. On the other hand, if you were to get very light, I believe it's below 30%, you'll notice we have a very far roll now. Even more fluid than before. I think it is 30%. No, we still got super fast rolling. Let's go up more. Alright, now we're down to normal rolling, so maybe 40% is the threshold there. Let's see. Yeah, so 40% is likely the threshold for fast rolls. But, I mean, fast rolls are nice. Normal rolls are fine. Lucerne, new weapon we picked up. Decent weapon. I actually use this for a large part of the Let's Play series. One more knight to kill. Now, this knight's a little bit harder than the rest. Same tactics we've used up until now do still apply. If you're very careful, you can actually walk all the way up behind him for a backstab, though. Ooh, was not close enough for the backstab, but that's okay. Still got really good damage into him. Now, as you can see, he has red glowing eyes, and that's the big thing you want to look for. Basically, anytime you see an enemy whose eyes are glowing red, they're going to be a bit harder to kill, and they're going to hit a little bit harder than other enemies. So do keep that in mind. Got a refined gem off of him. Now we're going to run inside here and talk to Emma.
Ah, the wait has been long, unkindled one. I am Emma, High Priestess of Lothric Castle. Allow me to speak frankly. You will not find the Lords of Cinder here. They have left, gone, to their churning homes, converging at the base of this castle. Head to the bottom of the high wall, forge on through the great gate, and raise this banner to proceed. This farewell gift is for you. It is the insignia of an old covenant. If you fear trespassers, dark spirits drawn by the embers, then etch this upon your heart, and the old Concord will beckon noble blue sentinels to hunt these foul spirits.
So that is the first covenant, Way of the Blue. To put on covenants, you simply go right here, and you can freely equip it. Now, the Way of the Blue covenant is a good covenant if you're just starting out playing. Basically, the way the Blue works is if a red invader comes into your world and you're part of the Way of the Blue, anyone who's part of the Blue Sentinels can be automatically summoned into your world to defend you. So if you are playing online and it's your first time going through the game and you're scared of other players, which is understandable, Way of the Blue is kind of like a safety net to help protect you against invaders. We're going to Ember up. In general, there's two things I want to mention about Embers. Because Embers can be used for a full heal, I like to save Embers during boss fights and pop them right before, or pop them in the fight after I run out of Estus, just for that, that last chance, let me heal to full, because I think I can beat this guy. On top of that, because they are, Ambers are kind of expensive to buy, and aside from that, the only consistent way to get them is farming the Abyss Beasts. I usually prefer to save them for that exact reason. That being said, with an Ember state up, like we have now, you are able to see summons, including NPC summon signs. So, keep that in mind. It's the trade-off. You're going to be going into the boss with a little bit more health, but because we are already in Ember state, And as you can see right here, we can summon Swordmaster into the world. This is the guy that dropped the Uchigatana for us. So it's the trade-off. You know, you could save it for a full heal, or you could use it to summon someone into the fight to assist you. So we're going to be using as many NPC summons as possible during this playthrough. And strictly, we are going to be using only NPCs and not players, because I want you all to have an experience that can be replicated to my own. Now, this boss has two main phases. When he gets around 50%, he will begin charging like a mad dog almost. You can block his charge with your shield, but it's much safer to roll and dodge it. Small window to buff here. We got our axe up. We're going to take our shield out until we're in a spot where we can get clean hits on him. And now we're just going to start wailing into this guy. Now, in general, for giant bosses, it's almost easiest to get underneath them. Take Vordt, for example, with his very wide swings. It's a little bit harder for him to hit you when you're kind of inside of him, how I am right now. You can see he's done quite a few attacks that have missed completely. One thing to note about this boss fight, as you see, I have a meter above his health, and that's Frostbite. As he continues to do damage to you, he'll build up something that's known as Frostbite. And if you get frostbitten, you'll lose a big chunk of health. He's going to do this blast. You can outrange it. Swordmaster getting hit rather hard, so I'm going to get up and help finish things off. Kind of staying underneath Vordt, making it a little easier to do damage to him. That one's connected, so we're going to roll back while he's doing a slam. So actually, we already used our Estus, so we're going to pull out our shield here, play it a little bit safe. We almost got him dead. Behind. Starting to charge again. Wait for the charge, and then roll out of the way. Frost Blast, we can actually go in and get easy free damage while he's doing that. And with that, Vordt of the Boreal Valley will fall. So a little unfortunate that Swordmaster had to sacrifice his life there, but better him than us, right? You're going to see achievements pop up kind of interspersed in this playthrough. And sometimes it's just because I'm playing multiple characters. I have one character that I started making a dex build on, it's just for the build videos. So as that's coming along, depending on progress, this character and that one will kind of interchange in who gets farther. So right here, we're just going to walk on up, raise the banner. Let's see how long the load is. It is one great thing about PC. In PC, this was literally instantaneous. I raised the banner and I went straight into the cutscene. Beautiful not having any loads. And we have reached the Undead Settlement. So we're going to kindle this bonfire. From here, run over this way. Grab yourselves a large deserted soul. And as I mentioned, we're going to get to the second bonfire in this area before we wrap this video up, just because that's kind of like the true start of the Undead Settlement. So ignore all that for now. We're going to be getting those souls for free momentarily. There's going to be some dogs behind this cart up ahead, so just get ready to fight. And we have our Alluring Skulls. Now, Alluring Skulls are a very interesting item, especially if it's your first playthrough of the game. You can use these to throw them down, and they will attract certain types of enemies. It's not going to be effective for every enemy, but certain enemies will kind of run over anything that's like a hollow, if you will. The dogs, undead, skeletons, things of that nature, they'll run over to it.
Please.
So we're going to run on over. Accept his service. This is Yul. Yul is kind of a basic sorceries in addition to giving us free levels. Grab our Homeward Bones. For the most part, except for very heavy lore-related scenes, I am going to be just rushing through dialogue options. In the actual Let's Play series, of course, we didn't do that, but because this is strictly a walkthrough, and I would just want to show you guys the best way to run through areas, and at the same time try to keep these episodes a little bit shorter. For the most part, we're just going to be burning through dialogue as we have been up until now, and letting you guys get to enjoy all the dialogue and delve into the lore in your own playthroughs. So, where'd that last dog go? What are you doing back there? Come here. Nope. Puppy. Bad doggy. Pull this lever. This will open the gate. One enemy for us to kill. Alright, and this is the actual Undead Settlement. Here we have our bonfire. I thought there was an item back here. I may be imagining things. I haven't actually reviewed the content for Undead Settlement yet. That's one of the things I'm doing with these videos, is every time before I make one, I go back through and I'm rewatching the Let's Play to remember where all of the items and important things are. So at this point, now that we've reached the actual settlement, we're going to travel on back to Firelink Shrine. We're going to spend some souls, and then we'll get things kicked off in the next episode.